So, obviously, you are faced with an extremely daunting challenge. The Greek economy as it now exists, the European crisis as a whole, the whole world financial system, and all of the tremendous change and uncertainty that all this brings. I'm going to talk about two, what I call deep trends, that are globally pervasive, but don't just affect multinationals, they affect all of our businesses, no matter how local these businesses are. In a sense, these two trends are so obvious that we can easily miss them, like fish swimming in water. So the first one is accelerating change, that there are so many aspects of change in our business environment that are moving at a very, very rapid pace. But not only are things going fast, but to me, the staggering thing about it is that the pace of change is accelerating. Okay? That means that it makes everything very unpredictable, except that we can predict that change will be moving at a more rapid pace several years from now than it will be now. So the question is, how do we prepare ourselves and our organizations for a pace of change that in the future will be even faster than it is now? But there's another dimension to agility that often is overlooked when we think about agility. Agility is not just about going fast. And in fact, it was in our research we found that, generally speaking, it was the least agile leaders who thought of agility as simply getting everybody to go faster. The other important dimension of the other deep trend in the global environment, and I venture to say right here, is growing interdependence. Okay, and there are many global trends that make that up. But even if you think about each of us as we face our job every day, the people in our organizations, what they have to do to be successful, I think the way this translates is that we have the relationships that we have, whether they are external to our organization, customers, suppliers, business partners, or whether we're looking inside the organization at how people need to work cross-functionally, there's an increasing demand that we be able to manage these interdependencies in a successful way. Less and less can we be successful in this environment if we are not working in a really productive way with the key stakeholders. Okay, so these are the two big trends. And so you have, for example, a well-respected CEO like Jim McNerney of Boeing saying that not that agility is kind of an important thing, it's one of the things we should consider when we're leading an organization, but that it is the gut issue in leading an organization today. So this next slide is really an attempt to summarize about 10 years of past decade of research on organizational agility. And to generalize, what we see from that is a kind of cause and effect chain. And it starts with a consistent finding that if you consider organizational agility to be the ability to deal with these two forces I talked about, rapid change and interdependence, and you look at those organizations that are really good at that, and you compare their business performance to those who are not so good at that, the consistent finding is that the agile organizations outperform the less agile organizations. So business performance in this environment, you could predict, is very much dependent on the level of agility of your organization. Now the more subtle finding, and this is something we looked into with our own surveys as well as others that we pulled together here, is that while structural and systems aspects of organizations are an important component of making your business more agile, what executives consistently say is that the biggest barrier in their organization to it becoming more agile is the organizational culture. And as we dug into that more, what we found was it was particularly a certain aspect of the organizational culture that I'm going to call the leadership culture. In other words, leadership culture is what you sense when you maybe first join an organization and you look around and you see, what does leadership mean in this organization? What kinds of leadership behavior is rewarded, encouraged, through stories, through formal and informal rewards, etc., modeled by the top executives? What kind of leadership culture is being created in this organization? We found that the agility of leaders and the agility of the leadership culture seem to be the most important pivotal factor in how agile the organization is.